Not for the most part. Normally they have to steal their stuff from other countries.
Yeah. Like the F-15. When Russia did that. Remember that?
China's new stealth fighter is heavily suggestedly, based on
The F-22, ain't it?
the Raptor. Yeah. So, communism tends to lean on espionage. Capitalism
Breeds
provides
new.
more, because of competition. It breeds competition.
I keep bringing that up, but people don't understand.
It brings in ingenuity.
People just don't want to listen to me every time I bring that up. It's like I got into an argument with a female about socialism and versus communism.
Well, socialism versus communism. Socialism is just communism light.
Yeah, and she's like, well, no, socialism versus capitalism, and I brought up, she's just like, capitalism breeds poverty, and
tell that to the people of Venezuela.
But one of the points I brought up.
So if capitalism breeds poverty, then what does socialism breed? Abject poverty. Everyone's poor. But at least we're all equal. We're all equally eating dirt.
Like I mentioned, like, capitalism gives you the opportunity to be something better. Like, if you apply yourself, you can be better. And you can't do that with socialism.
It is true, though. I mean, there are those that will work hard, that will slave away, that will try to do the best they can and save money and be honest and work honest. And it doesn't happen to everyone. And it's not like, I mean, yes, that's true. Not everyone is going to be a billionaire. Unfortunately, that is life. But capitalism allows for others. It allows you to... How to explain this one? Capitalism isn't perfect.
Right. I don't think any government system is perfect.
It is the best way to create wealth.
Yeah.
It is really the only way to create wealth in comparing to socialism or communism. It is the only way to create wealth out of the three.
Yeah.
Socialism doesn't create wealth. It steals wealth. Communism doesn't create wealth. It steals wealth from others. And in the end, it bankrupts. So, anyone who sits there and says that socialism it creates wealth is wrong. It takes money from the wealthy and gives it to the poor, and then what that does is then the wealthy are no longer wealthy, and the poor don't get richer. They don't, and all it does is it doesn't help. I mean, those who use Sweden and Denmark and Venezuela as the subjects of, this is how socialism is good. Yeah, okay. Sweden was full-blown socialist for a while, and they've actually scaled back on their social
they're starting to take ideas from us, aren't they?
They took a lot of their ideas from us, yeah, but at the same time, they scaled back on their social programs because they're realizing that they were going bankrupt. And Denmark even says, the president of Denmark says, stop using us as an example of a socialist state because we're not socialist. So, Venezuela
the collapse is
Ask anybody from Venezuela, would you like to live here or live in America? I'm betting 99 out of 100 or 999 out of 1,000 are going to say, ooh, America. So, socialism does not create wealth. It takes wealth from others and gives it to those who don't have it. And that doesn't make the poor wealthier. And it just... Capitalism is the best, because those who have money invest that money into businesses or whatever. They are the ones that have the money to spend. They're the ones that have the expendable income. And they're the ones that create jobs. They're the ones that create businesses and start up businesses and invest in businesses. And the poor they don't create wealth. The poor don't create wealth because they don't have the money to invest. So, I'm not the greatest at articulating words. I don't. I understand capitalism, I understand socialism, but for me to actually to try to explain how, or I just don't have the words for it. I understand it, and I understand why capitalism works. Like, raising minimum wage. That's an example. Raising minimum wage. In order to make a profit, you have to have money left over from selling a product and paying your employees. And buying, you got to buy the product, you got to pay the employees to make the product, you got to pay the employees to sell the product. And, for example, hamburgers, McDonald's, whatnot. There is actually very little profit left over, believe it or not. I mean, I used to work for McDonald's, and I used to work for a guy that owned 5 McDonald's, and in the end, after paying his employees, after buying the product, and paying the bills, and paying the electric and the water and all that kind of stuff, he rarely made more than $100,000 a year. Personal taking home $100,000 a year. Now, forcing someone to pay your employees more money, in this case, in the state of Florida, it's like, I think, at $8.25.
Yeah, I think it's $8.50 actually, because that's what I started out with.
If you were to, say like Seattle, forcing employers to pay $15 an hour to their employees, they would have to do one of two things. In order to make a profit, in order to make money, you're going to have to, one, fire employees, let them go, because you're now paying double what you were paying. Or two, you're going to have to raise the prices to cover for the loss of profit. So instead of paying $4 for a Big Mac, you're going to be paying $6, $7, $8 for a Big Mac for,
like where it is where I work.
So minimum wage was good at one point because it was a good idea at one point, because employees were not paying a fair wage. And honestly, nowadays, I don't necessarily think that it is necessary, because you're not going to work for an employer that doesn't pay a decent wage. If you got rid of the minimum wage, if you banned the minimum wage, first thing that's going to happen is that wages will drop, but at the same time, employees aren't going to work for a company that isn't going to pay them a decent wage. So employers will have to compete by advertising that they're paying a decent wage for their employees.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. I mean, I don't work for McDonald's anymore, so it doesn't really matter. But can we stop recording now, please? Because we're where we need to be.